Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This will be a video of a lot of things. I was thinking I would do crafting and reading since I'm mainly doing crafting these days, but I still like to read. I feel like my tarot journey is uh, going in other directions right now, so I currently do Ukrainian readings. I still do them, and for this video, I felt like bringing my deck out. Well, I got it out of the car yesterday, and I figured I would read with it. I also have the um, Russian edition of the Victorian Fairy Tarot. I use this one. Um, and I have my other one that is set aside, the English version set aside. So aside from reading, I do have other things. So, well, I have this sweater that I've been wanting to show in other videos to see if it'll have the effect of the golden wheat that it looks like it has. Sorry, my hair is knit into it, and that's what I was trying to pull on. Um, but it's fine. And I love this. It is a short sleeve. I didn't weave the ends in, but that is the pattern for the sleeve. So I love this one. I think it's just so regal looking with the gold accents, and it shines when you see it. And um, definitely one of my favorites. It is a pattern by Jenna Costet. It is a I test knitted the garment for her book, the Knitted Kalevala Volume 2. So this bin used to have other knitted garments. Now I use the suitcase that my brother gave me. There was a piece, it was like a piece of the rubber that is part of the design that wraps around the zipper. Um, it was detached in an area, so I just sewed it back into the suitcase, and now it has my knitted garments and my skirts that I wear with them, as well as some of the tops that I wear with some of the skirts. Now I put some of the crafting things. So I got this from one of the fabrics because I wanted to see if I could just fold up a yard full of fabric and wear it as a headband. Um, I will see if I could make it into a bandana. I saw some sewing videos, and there's so many different types of bandanas that I would like to sew up, and I figured that maybe I'd hold on to some of the cards or some of the cardboard that it was wrapped around. We'll cut this off, but I feel like I can hole punch these and make them into swatch cards. I have um, this box. I got it from, well, it had food in it, and I feel like I'll use the a larger card for the Lapis because there's a lot of them. I might even make some middle sections for it too. I have some paper. I might keep one of the sides exposed, like the inside of it exposed. I have a hole puncher, but well, it's his hole puncher, well, my brother's hole puncher. So I don't have many colors right now anyway, but I feel like it's nice to start a card. So when I was younger, I used to love the hole punchers. I might keep one of the band fronts so I could have it labeling the card. I mean, I could write it out too, but um, I was thinking on whether or not I would write the names of the colorways because the names have changed. This the Lava Soapy used to be known. It used to have another name for it, so I might go by the colors, or I might write in pencil. Um, I have my brother's pencil case here, and I also have my passport cover that I didn't use or I didn't open yet. Scissors, other crafting things. This is from the pie, the container. I never used it, so I'm thinking at some point maybe I could use it for swatches too. And I was thinking what yarn brands or collections I would make swatch cards for. There is a Jameson's one that is sold in one of the local yarn shops that I go to, the one that I go for knit night, because this yarn shop has um I feel like it has the yarn that I tend to use. So it has the Jameson, it has Lopi yarn, so Lapis Lopi, Let's Lopi, um, Plotalopi, and there's another unspun that is carried there. There's a lot of the yarn that I tend to go for or would like to use or knit with in the future. So I enjoy going there. And um, the Jameson's swatch cards, it's like a booklet. There's so many colorways and um, I was thinking at some point, but I mainly have used the blue and the yellow. So maybe for future projects, I'll start pulling out the cards. This video will be a little this way and that way. If there's chaos, I'm here for it. I just figured it would be fun to do more readings because when you read cards, you tend to like just to have cards with you and do this or see what the card of the day is. I did see something that it seems special to me before I started the video. Let's see where I can put these cards. Because it's there. No, maybe I put my pillows a little, well, there's a couple things on the bed. So one of my reoccurring dreams is I'm deep in the ocean and I turn around and there's this giant eyeball looking at me. And then when you like pan out a little bit, it's a whale. And I feel like for the longest time, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily a water person. I I like lagoons. I like kind of serene settings for water. Um, but I wouldn't say I go for deep bodies of water. I feel like I'm very much like a berry fairy. That's how I've been feeling. It isn't, um, well, I had the hot pink color. It will show up because I took a picture and it'll probably be in a video at some point. But it has like a berry fairy effect because I kind of blended it in. I didn't completely differentiate it from other strands of my hair. So, I love those types of effects and I'm pleased. And so, um, now I'm in a pink mood. I remembered, I didn't forget, but it came up again. I have my pink jacket in the car. I haven't used it yet. Um, so I feel like I want to bring it out and I think it would be really fun to have just walking around with it. The jacket doesn't have a zipper. It has like a tie. So it's I'll see like when I go outside how it is. But for the whale animal totem, I read something just I feel like revealing and I felt like it spoke to me. So the so one of the posts was or is what does the whale sorry what does the whale mean to the Native Americans? The native orca symbol or killer whale symbolizes family, romance, longevity, harmony, travel, community, and protection. He is said to protect those who travel away from home lead and to lead them back to when the time comes. Orcas will often stay their whole life in the same with the same pod and raise each calf with care. So I thought that was really like everything and with it like traveling away from home and leading back to when the time comes, I feel like that has been a cycle that has been in and out or going through different times of my life with the whale energy. And there is that longevity, and I do link the whale totem to wisdom too. There's just like an um ancientness to the whale, of course. I feel like there is a type of communion that comes back, and since I was saying whale, I do feel like there's a link to it. I also feel like it kind of goes off the beaten track in a way because in the Victorian Fairy Tarot, one of the last card is the Three of Cups. There is the Five of Swords here, and I do feel like there is some type of reconciliation. There could have been something of honestly like a Queen of Wands being a Queen of Wands because you do have like the first card is the Queen of Wands. There is that flamboyancy that is definitely met with this energy. And sometimes it is really apparent and can sometimes um, honestly take things off the track. And there is that bit of chaotic human tornado type of energy that you get with this. Before doing this reading, I feel like I'll say this, but I feel like the reading does come to uh, a realization, and um, there is a little obstinance. There is a bit of that dominant energy, I would say, but there's other fire energy, and I feel like it can associate with Queen of Wands. The future you have the Temperance card, and it really goes through those battles, especially the inner battles that we have. And although you don't want to put out the fire, there is the point of trying to bend it, or one could say even tame it, but I don't want to say it completely like that. As you can see, there is bending in this card because for the last 2 days I got interesting dreams. And I feel like it could have to do with relationships or some type of interaction, or not having an interaction because there is the Five of Swords. And it does have like a halting energy, and it does have an energy where it's like, um, it's not going to hold back because the Queen of Swords, since I said Queen of Swords, it could link to like the Queen of Swords energy. On my other channel, there was a reading, the last reading with the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands. There is that lovely duo there, um, but I feel like with the Five of Swords there, it could have been things that have gotten out of hand, and it can lead to like there's a part of it just that just seems as if um there's an energy that kind of feels like a big fuck you energy, if I'm being honest. And it almost as if it feels like resistance. It's similar to the Seven of Wands, and I could link it to the Five of Swords in this case too, where it's going to spit out or like do just as much harm as it feels like it the person will. And there does seem to be like it might be a good idea to be careful because in putting yourself out there in that way, not only are you kind of harming the other person or the situation, you could also be harming yourself, and then the whole thing could just, again, get out of hand. I feel like since the Temperance is there and the first card is the Queen of Wands, there's like a I feel like the Queen of Wands may be that person that helps put the pieces back together or even pick some pieces up. Like if there was like glass on the floor and um you don't want anybody to step on it, or to you kind of just want to put an end to this, and of course you don't want that type of aggression. It kind of reminds me of like growing up And I know like siblings are siblings, and my brother and I have definitely gotten into arguments, and um this is like years and years and years ago, but sometimes like rarely it got like way more aggressive than it should have. There's like this post. I'm gonna turn over more cards. There's like this post where it was like, what's the worst thing you've thrown at your siblings? And then you have like people just saying, I threw a lamp at my sibling, I threw the other sibling at my sibling. For me, I threw what was next to me at the time, which was like a pot of boiling water. I mean, it missed, and I feel like we've been there, we've gone past it. Um, I feel like we've had each other's backs in some ways where, um, in some ways, just I say it like that because sometimes he's the older sibling, and I feel like he kind of tried to parent me too, especially when I wasn't really listening and I just was not having it. And I feel like that was one of the main times, like that specific incident. And you could try to think of like the other things that maybe has gone on or the other things that you might have thrown. But I think that was probably the worst thing, but it missed. So it it does feel like things that just went too far, and now we're having this type of we need to just end that here because we don't want to bring it into the future. You have the four of wands with the death card, and it's the Morgan card. So you literally have like you're talking to death at this point because death has come, and you're seeing things change as leaves change, and trees know when the leaves need to fall. It's not going to keep holding on to the leaves, and it knows that it'll cycle again where it'll be more lively in another time of life. The Four of Wands has a sense of like elderly energy to it. So this does feel as if it as like if you are interacting with somebody, or it could even just be a situation in life too, that oh my god, that's wow. It's it's blue and yellow, like I've been doing for a lot of stuff. Me just seeing that, and I literally made this deck like 5 years ago. So it's interesting because this is a type of enjoyment from this couple. Because you could say that this could link to like a celebratory type of energy with the Four of Wands, which is kind of like what you get with it in a lot of cases. But in this case, you have like a couple. It doesn't necessarily have to be an older couple, but it could be people that may have that type of lifestyle that just want to have like, well, chill ass lifestyles where you don't want to do any of this, or something might be too like overly stimulating in a different way than what the both of you are looking for, or it could be like a group, but I feel like it could be two people. um I feel like it could be masculine energy back to comfort the feminine energy, because it looks like there's an initiative there, even though um with the Death card and Sagittarius, the Queen of Wands, it could link to a male energy with the Queen of Wands. But it just seems that there's someone, and it could be the same person, but there's somebody that just puts everything into perspective and just ends it, and then life moves on, and we see things and we do things in another way because when you have death card, it doesn't, there's certain things that just don't transfer over. It reminds me of like it reminds me of like when you go to school and you have your credits, and there's like some of them that don't transfer over. You also have the Four of Cups here. There can be a stubbornness from one of the energies because with the Four of Cups, it's kind of like the heart is not completely over it with the Five of Swords. Like, I feel like the Five of Swords is still mentally, I was gonna say capacitate, but no. Um, it's kind of, this energy feels thought stricken as if it doesn't want to move on from this energy, but it does anyway. And it does bring it to like new life. And if you are rekindling or restarting or like moving forward from something that has happened, it kind of feels like taking it a day at a time with the Three of Cups because the Three of Cups is minor arcana, so is the Four of Cups, the Five of Swords. I mean, the Queen of Wands is a court card. Four of Wands, minor arcana, and then the Death and Temperance major arcana. The present is the Fate card, which is a type well, it is a fairy. And usually like with certain lore, there are beings that help delegate the, I was gonna say the yarn of faith, or how it's how things are woven in to become what will happen. And there's different steps, and then there's the deciding. This is the Ace of Swords, and it is minor arcana. I am getting it's like a more gentle approach to things. And also in my dream, I had two dreams closely together, pretty consistent with each other. Um, One of them, I was like, kind of honestly, because it was like a cell phone and it had my information on it. And then it had somebody else's information on it. And it was weird because it wasn't my cell phone. So it's like somebody else having my information and then somebody else's information. So there's like, I feel like energy that really wants to, I feel like it kind of feels like spying energy. And that could be the Ace of Swords as well, because it, like, based off of what this person finds will determine what they're going to do next. And in all honesty, I don't feel like they'll find much. There's this other dream because that phone, it reminded me of like honestly an ex-boyfriend's phone, and that was like that whole thing was just mm. And another dream where there was a setting that reminded me of a time where honestly I started beef with an elderly man. I was so like not okay. I was like mad as hell at this person. It was a person that I worked with, and I just felt like there was some, I don't know if I should say, because it's this whole thing, and should I like even mention it in this read? Let me pull up the other cards. But basically, um, the way that I feel like he approached something and went about like the business that he thought he knew about was just not it. And this was a person that I was definitely civil with for like years. He was like the elderly person of the pharmacy, and I was in the middle of moving. Well, I guess I'll just mention it now. I was in the middle of moving, and it's difficult to move stuff when you don't have somebody else helping you. So I rarely was like, when I go to work, I love to work. Like I get the satisfaction of getting stuff done. It was that specific day where I was trying to get things like in order. And I felt like he was micromanaging me because he was like telling me I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. Um, but honestly, I was the head of a lot of stuff in that pharmacy, and I worked the most hours out of everybody there. And I was in charge of a lot of the stuff that was there. And this person, I'm not saying it's bad that you're working part-time, but worked like 2 days a week, sometimes one day a week, which again, nothing like wrong with that. But I was trying to like get stuff done in the little time that I had. And when I was moving, I was just like, by the time I stopped moving, I felt like I snuck back into my apartment because it was like the day after I finished moving at like 4:30 a.m. the next day of the day that I was supposed to move out. And um it was mainly because of my bed frame. I should have um unbolted it beforehand, but I didn't realize it would be that difficult to unbolt it. And so it took me hours to unbolt that bed frame, and it was like metal, and I had to like carry it this way and that way, and it was just it was a lot. And because like if I left that bed frame in the apartment, they would have upcharged me to the max for them to move it out. And I mean, this was already an expensive apartment because of like, well, it was a nice apartment and because of like the location. It was outside of DC and a couple minutes from CIA headquarters and the Pentagon. So it was like in a specific location, and I was doing different things there. So aside from that, like the previous day or so, I was like trying to get the stuff as is trying to like formulate at least some type of plan, even though there wasn't much of a plan. This is why like I keep thinking like Adrian, just try to carry lighter things. But I also was like the phone that I saw in the dream. It was like really not a good relationship. I'm not saying like there was just it was just not a good relationship, and that was it looked like this person's phone because it was that specific type of incident. And so where I was going with it, but like just an example. This was years ago, but it was after we broke up, and then he emailed me because I didn't have his phone number anymore. And he's like, "Hey, I still have your stuff." And then I gave the impression that I was like, "Okay, I'll just get the stuff." But that was like it, like, but I feel like I was like trying to be civil. I feel like I was like being like regular about it, or just I'm not like regular, but like just having a civil conversation. And then the response was like, "Oops, I accidentally dropped your stuff in the dumpster." And honestly, I was like, "Dude, that's fucking petty." And so I was like, whatever. It's not sentimental to me. I lose some things and I get other things in life, and that's how it's been because I've moved so many times. So, um, and of course, like you've heard the things, like I guess, like one of the things that I've done, which is like threw a pot of boiling water at my brother. It's not like I haven't done stuff. Um, so I'm like, it's kind of like that where, sorry, jumping back to the elderly person. Um, so after that, because I still worked with this person sometimes, every time I worked with him, I would just micromanage the fuck out of him because he micromanaged me, and I'm like, that's that's not what it's supposed to be. So, um, it may seem like an aggressive approach, but just because not that many things just um like if something happens, I think it's I'm not gonna put my energy towards it. And I don't know if it was like the justice in me, the Libra in me was like, I'll sometimes it feels like the Libra being living, breathing, walking karma. And sometimes life or karma takes its course, and sometimes you don't need to be a part of the karma. Um, I don't think I was being completely wrong about it, and I think I was setting things straight, and I definitely did set things straight. So back to the reading. Um, you have the connection here too. And it's not that surprising because of what I was talking about. This could be, again, energy. It might even be misplaced energy too, because it does seem like the other person or a situation or energy, just there is like an apologetic feeling that comes from it, as if they know that they're being more aggressive than it should be, and now um things are like taking its course. And I think that it's at a good time that maybe this person or the other, whoever realized it is realizing it maybe at a good time before it's taken so far to a point where um it's not something that you could go back to. Um, you can revisit things, but it could be that if it's taken to a certain direction, to a certain degree, that maybe the other person might not be willing to dedicate any time to this anymore, or the type of time that you would like. So I do feel like it's not bad. You have the Eight of Cups, as part of the obstacle, and I would say as part of the overall energy too. And I do feel like there is a chance of you're gonna find something based of how strong you are in the position that you're taking it. It kind of feels like this isn't the battlefield anymore. Like you don't have to continue on with the mentality that you're still on the battlefield. And it can be hard to switch that on and off, or at least feel that it's okay. Because you have the dandelion here and you have a ladybug there. So I do feel like there is something that is suitable that comes in. And since it's geared towards the obstacle, it I feel like the resilience is going to be a matter of um how you'll take this and what the consequences will be and even how vengeful the energy can get because like before the reading I was getting like malaria bomb. I was getting a couple things and kind of interesting because some of the messages like were not in English and it's kind of interesting because I'm like I definitely do not have a wide range of vocabulary for like any for the Ukrainian language and for the Russian language too. I was just saying Russian because like there was another word that was in Russian that was coming up too. So um that could be two different energies. And that could be as aggressive as it might be taking it, even though it's minor arcana and I don't feel like it's necessarily to that point of destructiveness, but before the reading I was getting like malaria bomb. And so when you work with like environmental warfare, and that was one of like Hitler's last schemes of him thinking that maybe he could use this as an attack. But if it's windy that day or something happens, it could potentially be detrimental to the people that are fighting for him instead of his opponents getting the attack. So there is that type of riskiness. How to overcome the obstacle is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune isn't something that is super consistent. Um, you have like the master crocheter here, and it just seems that um you rip back, you add more, you might add more squares, you might take a long time to actually put these things together, or even to begin it, there could be other things that take priority at this time. But there does feel like there is a little bit of a time that I was going to say timelessness, but it's been interesting because recently, extremely like strongly, I've been getting that like there's something linked with time at this for this moment. And it's been going on for a while where I keep like looking at the clock and I keep feeling like, what does this time mean? And is something coming in or someone coming in, or is this like communication that will be arriving soon? And just it's so evident that it's almost like you can almost grasp it in a way. It's like energy that's so thick in the air that you could grasp it. And honestly, if you feel that type of energy, it's probably um almost palpable too. In the past, as I was saying, with trees and shedding their leaves, you have the Five of Cups, and you have a fairy with a tree, and there is that connection, and that could link to the King of Swords that I have here, and I have it as a connection card in my deck. That deep down, you still feel that heartbeat. There's something that there's really a lot of messages that come out of this reading too, because you have that connection in the Five of Cups minor arcana. Temperance, it has the, oh my god, this is supposed to be a crafting video too, so maybe I'm gonna do a little bit of crafting but not as much. So you have temperance, and there's the growth of the antlers, and antlers can be divine messages too, or and even other types of communication that are really tender. It can link to the Four of Wands because it has that couple there, and even with death, because there seems to be that communication with death, and even though it might not be like directly linking to maybe spirit energy, it can be linked to how we interact and with ourselves and our environment, on how we end things and how we begin things. Because there does seem to be that type of cycle that goes with Death card, the endings and the beginning, and sometimes it can be Phoenix energy too. You have a raven there, so it can have like a familiarity to it, like a type of familiar, and it you might want to see how you communicate with certain things and how invested you are in those connections. Because I feel like it'll be good to understand maybe animal totems and why these certain animals speak to you, can be more soulful than you might feel. Could be also other types of symbolism, could be numerology, um, and general astrology. So I'll pull out one more card. I would see the reality of the Ace of Swords too, because I feel like there's also a distortion that can come out of the Ace of Swords, and not hearing what you want to hear, but maybe what's actually being said. And you can match it with certain actions too, because if somebody says something and they do something else, then maybe you can gauge that too. I actually pulled out two cards, so it's the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. I pulled out the Three of Pentacles before that card. So I feel like there's a lot of tree energy because you get it from the Temperance, the Five of Cups, the Three of Pentacles in here, and the connection card, the King of Swords. With the Three of Pentacles, I mean, since the Three of Cups is here too, there can be that sense of community effort that's there. Um, so if it's mainly two people, there can be either the external environment or their crew just kind of being invested in this whole type of fairy tale love story, some type of story that's like unfolding. There seems to be like unfolding energy. And it goes back to the Two of Pentacles. It it's almost like there's a presence that like it's like you take more than what you, like the saying, you take more than what you can chew. And it's interesting that that is coming up because it's a rabbit, or my late rabbit. And I feel like there is navigation or the type of choice that you have with, again, how you're fulfilling or moving forward from this. I feel like there is a want and um I could say even a need to mend something here. There could also be like talking things through. There, because the Temperance card, well, a lot of these cards have like, some of them have cards of family and friends in here. So the Temperance card is a therapist and friend from a VA hospital. I met her at the VA hospital. So there is like I'm getting like constructiveness, or the way that the Two of Pentacles moves isn't something, it's almost like it's foundational, even though it's a two, and the Two of Pentacles isn't one to be super um like a smooth sailing, even though it's Earth type of card. Say if you're looking for stairs, the Two of Pentacles might give you like a rocky trail or like pebbles to walk on and maybe some debris there. It's not something that's necessarily clear. So it can be almost eggshells in a way, where we see, I say we, so it can be what other people might see, um, what this person or that person does in response to what's being said or done with them, and um, even behind your closed doors, or if they're talking to like their, like whoever they're with, like their crew or something, how they're handling it. And if there is something that's like definitive to where it's like they have the main, they're like they're the main voice, and the others might say something, but sometimes it's kind of um it might be okay, but at other times it might be something that will make situations go a different direction. So you might want to gauge how those things are. So this was mainly reading for this video. I don't feel like it was a bad reading at all. Um, I might cut some stuff for maybe 5 minutes because I have, um, I could probably just rip this, but it's gonna be loud. It's already kind of loud. So maybe I'll just kind of make it, well, I think it should be fine. I don't know if this is too loud. And my brother's gonna be like, "What are you doing?" I'm doing arts and crafts right now. So maybe it'll be another video where I'll do this, but will it be less loud if I just rip it? But I'll just cut it. With these Uncrustables, am I don't really do this part, like the outside of it. And I mean, I'll eat crust on stuff, but I usually kind of eat the crust first to get it over with. And I'm not saying it tastes bad, but I prefer the other parts of the sandwich. And so, um, I I don't think I've tried the other sandwiches. So I got this part. I think I'll put the four colors. Um, I even connected, well, I think I'll just do this off camera at the end. But let me show that I attached my sleeves. So I attached the sleeves, as I said. Yeah. And well, the underarms is still like this, but my main thing is I'm going to have to see if I'm going to make the paw prints the pepper color or the gray, because the gray or like the eyelets in the pattern, if you call them that, it's the color that the designer used for the paw prints. So whatever you want to do, I was thinking maybe I could use the black as for the paw prints, but it might be too dark because it's showing up kind of Oreo right now. And although it's not like the blackest, I feel like it might be dark. And I'm going to see what the gray looks like. It's not the lightest gray of that lava soapy, but it's not the darkest gray either. So it's definitely showing up. Um, I do want the whole garment to sing and to be balanced for it to show all the features instead of one of the main features of the garment, the paw prints. They're the important design element, but I love everything in the sweater, so I'm hoping I finish this next week. It would be ideal to like the gray one more because I'll have enough of the gray. If I make it black, there's a chance that I might have to get another skein of the black. And it's not the blackest black. So, um, because the pattern only called for the 100 grams of the black with using it in the different areas, and then there's going to be still like the decreases for the sweater, and there will be more of the black that shows up at the very end and even in the ribbing part too at the top. So that might be more of the heaviness that comes out of it if I made black for the paw prints and for the top portion. So, like the very top area where there's more of these, and then it comes up and it'll do the ribbing will be at the end. So I'm happy with the way that it's coming out, and I was hoping to have it done super soon because um, I know my parents are visiting my brother. Well, I'm here, so I'm not sure. My godmother's having a holiday party. I'm not going, so I'm not sure if they're waiting till after that to start painting. But I'll see. I mean, if I'm here, I'll see what I'm doing. But um, I'll try to find an area. I feel like I know an area where I could put the garment down to block it, but I don't know if they'll be mad at me for doing that. So there aren't other places because this area there's like the computer station, and then there's like the plastic kind of um like not rug but area where the chair is and everything, and I was thinking I can put it on there and I can put like an extra thing to where it's not like just laying on that, but it's good that it won't be like on the ground completely. So we'll see it in other videos, I'm sure, because I've been showing it a lot, but it's definitely coming together. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found the reading helpful, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.